Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from all around the world. Um, Today, I'm happy to be hosting Dr. Leonard Tao, Dr. Len. Uh, Dr. Len was chosen as one of the top leaders in dental consulting in dentistry today. Uh, he has dedicated his professional life to improving dentistry for both patients and as well as other dentists. After purchasing his practice, the Pennsylvania Center for Dental Excellence in Philadelphia, 2007, Dr. Len practiced full-time while consulting to other dental practices, training thousands of dentists about the marketing, leading the dental division of Bird Eye, a reputation marketing platform, and hosting the popular Raving Patients podcasts. He recently authored his book Raving Patients, and soon to be released 100 Tips to 100 Reviews in 100 Days. In 2018, Dr. Len cut down the practicing dentistry 2 days per week to focus additional time and attention to helping other dentists build broad and compelling online footprints that attract hundreds of new patients to their practices. Dr. Len, of course, he lectures nationally and internationally on using the internet marketing, social media, and reputation marketing to make dental offices more visible and credible, as well as how to increase their case acceptance. And today he's going to be lecturing a topic, in my opinion, is very interesting topic about dental reviewing. So again, I'm very happy to host Dr. Len, and the mic is with you, Dr. Len. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Well, I appreciate it, Dr. Ekram. I look forward to sharing my expertise with the viewers right now, and then obviously on replay later on. I'm going to share my screen. I'll bring up my presentation. You tell me if you can see it, which you should be able to.
Yes,
I have a few videos as well to show. So brief introduction about myself, but thank you for reading that. I'm a dentist in Philadelphia. I recently relocated my home to Florida, so I do commute to my office. I work 2 days a week, Mondays and Tuesdays, and the rest of the time I'm now in the state of Florida. I also run the dental division for Bird Eye. Bird Eye is a reputation marketing company. It's kind of the platform that I sell. This is not going to be a sales pitch about the product. I will mention it just very briefly because it's the way I generate reviews. But if anybody has any questions about that, please reach out to me directly. This is not the forum for that. I don't use this podium as a way to promote the product necessarily, but I will mention it very briefly. So I'm a very big believer in online reviews and how important they are to growing one's practice, maintaining it online, and really attracting new patients. I was telling Dr. Ekram before we started that I had a 70-year-old woman reach out to the office yesterday on the phone, and I called her up because we were closed, and she said she needs a new set of dentures, and I asked her how she found out about me, and she said, well, I read your reviews online. So that tells me, it says it all. I mean, she's coming here Monday. She lost her dentures. She needs a new set. She's definitely getting started. She said she's bringing a down payment to get started, but that's how important this is. You get the reviews, you get the patients. It's simple as that. So the topic is actually raving patients, get visible, get credible, and get more new patients. So I talk a lot about marketing, and marketing takes a day to learn. Unfortunately, it takes a lifetime to master. And I've been doing it 14 years in my practice, and I'm still learning the proper ways to market. But the most important thing I've done for my practice is focus on online reviews. So if you're listening to this or watching this, and you look at yourself online and you don't have a lot of reviews, you need to spend time to focus on this. And I'll show you the reasons why in just a few minutes. Marketing has changed forever. It used to be as seen on TV where marketing determined your business success. Now it's seen on the internet where your patients determined your business success. People are listening to other patients say about you, which is why the patients that come in from referrals, the friends who refer other friends, are such an important basis for our patients. The old marketing playbook is broken. 86% skip TV ads. I watch everything on replay other than if it's sports. I'll watch live sports. That's it. 91% of people unsubscribe to emails. 44% of direct mail is never opened. So when you're sending a piece by mail, people don't even open it up. And over 200 million people are on the do not call list. This is not going to work for most people when it comes to marketing their practice. But this is marketing today online. 93% of people search for a business online. 90 people choose a business on the first page of Google. 75% never scroll past the first page. And there's been a 500% growth in near me online searches for a business. This is where you need to pay attention to. This is where you need to focus your attention nowadays to be found online. And understand that marketing is an investment, not an expense. It's a tool that you have to use to increase your sales. It's not something that you do when you can afford to. So remember that that's a big thing. People are always concerned about spending money. It's an investment in your practice. And you should, if it's done right, get a nice return on investment. So this is me. This is my practice, actually. I purchased it in 2007, unfortunately, from a patient, from a doctor who passed away. I'm in a strip mall. I've got a dentist on the left side of me, 2 stores down. I've got a dentist directly across the street from me. I'm in a very busy part of Philadelphia, Northeast Philadelphia. Very, very insurance heavy area. Do not take insurance in my office. I am a fee-for-service practice. We'll accept it as a form of payment, but it doesn't pay for treatment in full most of the time. But I have just a 5 operatory location in Philadelphia. When I bought my practice, everybody was envious that I bought the practice. It was a great practice. And they were also envious of my location. So my practice is located on a very busy street. Cars are in traffic all day long on there. So everybody was envious of the location. And when I started to want to market my practice, the marketing gurus told me I needed to do yellow pages and I needed to do billboards. And I needed to really focus my attention on this type of marketing. I was like, this is back in 2007. I had no interest in doing any of these things. I did very little traditional marketing. Most of the marketing I did was focused on online marketing. I did 1 magazine ad, but I put myself on the internet because I knew that was going to be the future. So back in 2007, 8, 9, in those years, this is what Google looked like. This was the first page of Google for it. When you search like dentist in Philadelphia, there were 7 dentists, A through G, on the first page. So you had 7 opportunities to show yourself off. Okay. Well, nowadays, this is what it looks like. There are 3 dentists on the first page of Google, and you pay for an ad. So there may be a 4th one. So if you're not in this top 3, you're basically invisible, because the only other way someone's going to find you is by hitting that button that says more places. So you have to be very aware of this. You need to be checking the Google search engines to see where you're ranking. You're using a reputable company that's going to give you accurate data. One tip when you do this, make sure you're not logged into your Google account online, because Google knows your searches and will rank you higher than someone else is going to see you. So that's just a little tip. Go into incognito mode or private browsing mode on your browser, and that way you'll be able to see a true reflection of what you look like online. So as we move through this, Padinar, I want you to think differently, as Apple does. I'm a big fan of Apple. I've got Apple everything, but I want you to think differently when you do things, because I did things differently throughout my life in my practice. And remember that Rome wasn't built in a day. This does take time. You're not going to get immediate results from this. It does take time to build up, but once you hit that top threshold, 75 to 100 reviews, you will see a significant increase in the number of people who come in because of what you look like online. So it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like I said, it does take time, but if you're patient, you will have a ton of patients coming in. So I want to talk to you about something that's called social proof. Social proof is a big term nowadays. And this is a great example of a similar concept. It was a Candid Camera episode in an elevator, but this is about 1.5 minutes. It's going to really talk to you about how people respond to things. So just watch this.
The gentleman in the elevator now is a Candid star. these folks who are entering, the man with the white shirt, the lady with the trench coat, and subsequently one other member of our staff will face the rear. And you'll see how this man in the trench coat tries to maintain his individuality, but little by little, he looks at his watch, but he's really making an excuse for turning just a little bit more. Now we'll try it once again. Here's the candid subject. Here comes the candid camera staff, 3 of them at least. And this man has apparently been in groups before. Now, here's a fella with his hat on in the elevator. First, he makes a full turn to the rear, and Charlie closes the door. A moment later, we'll open the door. Everybody's changed positions. See if we can use group pressure for some good. Now, in a moment, on Charlie's signal, everybody turns forward. Notice they take off their hats. And now, do you think we could reverse the procedure? Watch.
So that's a great example of what I refer to as social proof, where people are literally following what other people do. This is another example of social proof. McDonald's hamburgers, over 19 billion served. You know, McDonald's is all over the world. I don't think anybody would ever tell you that McDonald's hamburgers are actually good. They're fast and they're cheap, okay? So, but this sign gets people to stop because they've literally served so many people. So when you do your marketing, focus on these types of things. That's why the Trident ad, 4 out of 5 dentists agree that Trident gum. That's another example of social proof. You have to put that into your marketing. So social proof is a tendency to see an action as more appropriate when others are doing it. And this is a book, if you haven't read it, it's a great book, The Psychology of Influential Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. This is an amazing book to talk about this concept. Consumers trust social proof reviews 12 times more than manufacturers' descriptions. And our main manufacturer description is our website. So when people go to our website, they don't necessarily love to see what we're putting on there. They want to see what the patients are saying. And nobody's putting bad reviews on their website. So the reason why there's a problem here with our websites is because of this, ads versus reality. These companies are putting what the ads show, but in reality, you're getting a lot different quality of a product in reality from these companies. So this is the reason why we're having some issues in the way we're marketing our practices. So I want you to accept this hard truth that no one cares about what your marketing team has to say about your business. They care what your patients have to say. So these are your happy patients. This is your sales and marketing team. So your unfair advantage is you have these empowered patients who want to talk to you about you online. You need to give them the opportunity to do that and make it easy for them to do that. And the reason that is because it creates this amazing trust with your patients. And the more a patient trusts your business, the more they're willing to spend money in your practice. So you have to get this trust from you. And that's why that personal referral is great, is because the patients already trust you. Well, the online reviews have the same effect, is that they create this amazing trust with people who are potentially coming into your office. But trust isn't the only thing I want you to focus on. It's credibility. These reviews give you an amazing amount of credibility with your patients. So I'm going to help you get more credibility online, okay? But I don't want you to confuse credibility with visibility. You need both of these things. You need to be both credible and visible. if a practice is very credible, lots of reviews, but not visible, that's a problem. Okay. You're not found, even though you have a lot of reviews. And if you're visible, but you don't have a lot of reviews, that's not good either. So you want to have both of these. You need credibility and visibility. So today, what we're going to be talking about is something that I refer to as reputation marketing, which I believe is the most important way and that you should market your business online. It's the first thing you should focus on before you start spending money on other forms of marketing, because you will realize that your ROI is not as good if you had reviews to kind of boost up the performance. And I know, and I ask every single patient who comes in my office how they found out about my office. It's one of the first things I do. How'd you hear about us? And I know that over 1,625 patients the last 10 years mentioned they chose my office because of my great online reputation. And I get that every single day. So that's a lot of money I've generated because of my online reviews. It simply keeps on, it's the gift that keeps on giving, as I like to say. So this is an example of what.
So I saw that you found me on Google.
Yes.
Okay, what did you search for?
The top 10 doctors in Philadelphia area.
And obviously you found I listed top 10,
Yes, you did.
but why did you pick my office?
Because you had 93 Google reviews.
And that made me stand out from everybody else.
Exactly.
And did you read them or you check them out?
I was satisfied with the
With
93,
the 93 reviews?
4.7 stars worth of Google reviews you had.
Perfect, thank you very much.
So this is an older slide. I mean, older video. 93 Google reviews is probably 8 to 10 years ago. I have 350 now. But the point was, even back then, this was such an important way to bring patients into your office. Now, I talked about how important it was to have reviews before you start marketing your practice. So no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing paid search, which is Google AdWords, pay-per-click advertising, same thing. That gets you to the top of the search engines very quickly, but it is very expensive. Whether you're doing organic search, this is search engine optimization. You're paying a company to get you to the top of the search engines. You're not paying Google. Okay, this is called SEO, whether you're doing SEO, whether you're doing display advertising. This is like retargeting. The people that are watching this will understand this. If you go to Nordstrom's to look at a pair of shoes, those shoes appear on other websites. That's what display advertising is about. And then social media. If you're either doing free social media or even paying for it, no matter any of these things, paid search, organic search, display advertising, or social media, if you don't have the reviews to back up the performance, you're really going to see your performance struggle. So I want you to stop your marketing spend until you have a steady flow of reviews. That's really what it comes down to. So no other social media channel is as influential as online reviews. As Warren Buffett said, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. And you've got to respect Warren Buffett. He's a multi-gazillionaire. But on the case of the internet, it doesn't take 5 minutes to ruin it. It can lose it in a nanosecond. And I've seen it many, many times. And that's why you have to be proactive to get the reviews. Remember, today, everyone is a publisher. Everybody has either an iPhone or an Android, an iPad. They have some device that's connected to the internet that will allow them to write a review about you. Even if they're in the office and they have a bad experience, they can go do that while they're in your office. So the devices have made the patients very powerful as being publishers. So reviews drive business. A great reputation equals more money. But there's no such thing as an online reputation repair kit. So let's talk about why online reputation is so important. And I'm going to start with a tweet, which I think is super important. And I think this is hilarious. But this person wrote, "Shout out to people who rate and review things, because I don't like to rate or review things, but I like to know how things are rated and reviewed." So he doesn't like to write reviews, but he likes to read them. And I think you'll find that most people like to read online reviews. Everything we do, whether we go to a restaurant and we haven't been there, we usually look it up. We want to watch a movie, we look up the reviews on the movie. Everything we do in life revolves around this online reputation that we've been talking about. So this was a survey that was done every year. It's done by a company called Bright Local. This is the 2020 results. It was released in December of 2020. What business type have you read online reviews for? Dentists are third. Top 5 of dentists are third. In the 35 to 54-year-old age group and the 55 and older, it's second and third, third and second over those two age groups as well. That's why this is so important. They read the reviews about your business. Do consumers read online reviews for local businesses? 87% read online reviews for local businesses in 2020. And it's increased from 81% the previous year and 67% back in 2010. So in 11 years, there's been a 20% increase in how many people are reading these online reviews. What's your next step after reading a review? 31% go directly to your website after they read the review. So they're most likely choosing your business. Only 28% search for more reviews, 17% go right to the business, and only 12% go look for another business after that. When reading a review, what do you pay the most attention to? Number one is the overall star rating. Number two, how real the review seem, and 80% look at how recent the review was, which we'll talk about in a second. 79% look at the quantity of reviews. Just understand that 60% won't consider a business with less than 4 stars, and 40 is the average number of reviews needed for consumers to trust you. So if you have less than 40, people aren't trusting you anyway. So how recent does a review need to be? And this is incredible to me, okay? Within 2 weeks, 50% of the people who were surveyed want reviews that are literally within the last 2 weeks of a business. 86% think that reviews older than 3 months are no longer relevant. So if you have reviews that are older than 3 months, they're old. Nobody wants to see those anymore. So you have to get fresh, current reviews pretty frequently to get the trust of the patients to come in. How do online reviews affect your opinion of a local business? Well, 73% make consumers trust a business more. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And look at this, the star rating I trust the most is nowhere near 5 stars. You do not have to be perfect online. People do not believe perfect reviews. So I'm very happy. I have 350 something Google reviews, 4.7 or 4.8 stars, and I'm very content with that. It proves I'm real. It proves I have some patients who are unhappy. We're not a perfect business. And then last but not least, for which of these local businesses does reputation matter the most when choosing a business? Second is doctors and dentists, 45%. Super important for the way we do our business. Reputation matters the most behind restaurants and cafes. This was another study they did, which shows they studied each industry, and the average number of reviews that a dentist has is 38 with 4.6 stars. So those are some baseline numbers that you have to keep in mind. And then after being referred a business, what do you do next? Now, in the past, you just basically called the office up and you made the appointment. Now, 87% of people search online to find information about the business you're referring them to. And I'll give you a real quick example of this. When I refer my patients to a specialist, they're always looking them up online to see what people say about them. They're not just calling them on the phone anymore. It's a very interesting concept that's changed over the years. So 87% search online to find the company information, and 52% of the time they're looking for the online reviews and ratings. But again, you have to be proactive. You cannot be reactive and start doing this after you already get some negative reviews. It's hard to come back from that. I always like to say the first 10 reviews you get will protect you against a bad review. So it's prophylactic. So there are 3 steps to online reputation marketing. Step 1 is getting found, which I call visibility. Step 2 is getting found in a compelling way, which I call credibility. And then monitoring and protecting your reputation. So it's dealing with how to respond with negative reviews potentially. So step 1 is getting found. So how do you get more visible online? So one of these things involves evaluating and claiming what is referred to, as your local citations or local listings. These are directories online that have a lot of trust with Google. And we're not talking about getting pulled over, not this type of citation. So a citation is a mention of your business name, address, phone number, website, hours, all this information on other websites, which are considered local directories for Google. They're usually acquired through a registration process, but many times these sites just crop up on their own. Okay, but here's the most important thing. Google actually places a lot of trust in these citations. And if your citations are inaccurate, it actually hurts you online and you basically get penalized and don't rank high because of that. This is a big concept called local search engine optimization. So if somebody in your area, you do a Google search for a dentist in your town and you're ranked there and you have businesses that have more reviews than you, there are a couple of other factors, but one of them may be that your citations are not accurate enough. So keep that in mind. It's basically like giving someone your business card with the wrong information on that, which you wouldn't do. So this is what this local search ecosystem used to look like. All of these sites on here are considered citations. They all talk to each other. They're all connected to each other, but they also all talk to Google My Business. So you want the information on Google to match what all these other directories have. That's the old image. This is the newer image to what it looks like. This is what this local search ecosystem looks like. There's primary data aggregators, there's key sites, and then there's other core search engines. So you need to have the information the same on all of these sites, okay? You have to be in Google's circle of trust though. If you're outside the circle of trust, that's not good. So there are rules, and here are the rules. Your name, address, and phone number, called the NAP, must be exactly the same on each site in order for Google to recognize it. So you need to consider some of these. Are you street or ST, Florida or FL? Is it a suite or STE or number, the and or the and sign, Inc. or incorporated? These are all things that need to be consistent, and there's a lot of errors on this. So the people that are most affected on this are people who bought a practice and changed the name, people who started the practice from scratch recently, okay? People who moved their offices, they switched locations. These are ones that are going to struggle with their citations if someone isn't already doing this for you. And just so you know, most website companies do not do this for you. Some SEO companies do this, but this is not getting SEO on the organic rankings. This is on the maps of Google that we're talking about, just to be clear. So how do you claim all of these sites? Okay, you don't. This is not a do-it-yourself job. It's very difficult for a dentist office to do this themselves. They have to hire someone to do this. So just so you know, if you want to, when you're watching this or afterwards, you can go to a website called yext.com, yext.com, and you can go to, there's a place that says business, scan my business, and you can actually put in your name that Google has for your business and your phone number, and it will tell you, it'll give you a score and show you how good or bad you're doing on this. Okay, you want to be as close to 100% as possible with this scan, but this is not a do-it-yourself job. So there are many companies that do this for you. Yext is one of them. You've got Moz Local. You got a company called White Spark. You got a company called Sweet IQ. There are many companies that can do this for you, but this is a big part of online ranking. And this Bright Local did a survey, how important are accurate citations to local search ranking? 33% of the experts say they're critical, 57% say they're very important, but not a single person said they're not important. So this is why this is super important. But even more important is what the consumers say. And consumers say that finding incorrect information on online directories would stop me from using a local business. 78% of men and 62% of females would not use your business if they were sent to the wrong location. So this is a very important part of your local SEO strategy, is making sure your citations are consistent. So why do you need to be more visible? Now, the basis behind this is if you generate the reviews and you fix your citations, you will generally rank higher in your local area. But the reason why you need to be more visible is that position 1 on the local search rankings gets basically 25% of the clicks. Position 2 gets 13% of the clicks. Position 3, 10% of the clicks. Anything else, less than 2% of the clicks. So you have to be on that top 3 in that map That's like the goal here. It's super, super important. So the NAP, the name, the address, and phone number, consistency is the key here. So as I mentioned before, you want to stop your marketing spend until you have a steady flow of reviews, because like I said, you're wasting your money. If you don't have the reviews coming in and you're spending a lot of money on marketing, I guarantee you can get better performance if you focus on the reviews as well. So how do you generate more reviews? So you want to get found in a compelling way. So one of the secrets is that patient reviews are now one of the biggest factors in local search results. Generally, the practices with more reviews will rank the highest if they have fairly consistent listings. So the rules from Google are you want them to be of some regular velocity. You're getting at least a couple every week. You want them to be recent within the last 2 months, ideally 2 weeks. And a perfect rating is 4.5 to 4.8. You don't always have to get perfect online. Five stars with 500 reviews, it's fake, in my opinion. Okay. So you must collect reviews from your happy patients. And I think everybody would agree with that, but also people struggle with this. But I don't want you to ask for a review. I want you to change the verbiage and ask for feedback about their experience. That's going to get you a better result, in my opinion. So let's talk about some of the ineffective ways of generating online reviews. So these are some of the ways that don't work as well. So asking, you can ask patients, hey, hope you had a great experience. Would you go home? Would you go home when you get home? Would you go online and write a nice review for us on Google? That works. Patients will say yes. They very rarely do it. You basically have a 5% conversion if you're lucky. So you ask 100 people, you get 5 reviews. Eventually, you're going to get annoyed about asking everybody and get such limited results. So asking is one way. You can put a QR code into your phone, and you can scan this and they can leave a review that way. They don't work as well. You can put a card in their hygiene bag. They barely open what they get in their hygiene bag, but this is another type of way of doing it. This is a great card. You can see it says log into your Google account from a computer connected to the internet. Like you have to tell them to turn it on as well. Now you notice this card says navigate to this local site, and there's a link there which is hyperlinked. You can't click on this, it doesn't work. So this is a funny card in my opinion. Now there are many programs, and they're all good. They're communication programs. RevenueL, Lighthouse, Demandforce, SolutionReach, Yappy. They're all really good communication softwares. They will handle the text messaging, the emails, the confirmations, the recall, the reactivations with your patients. They will also generate reviews. Now, far and away, many of these companies don't get reviews directly on Google very easily. Okay, so keep that in mind. They're great companies. I use a lot of these products in my offices, but they don't generally generate reviews on Google. So why don't your patients leave Google online reviews? And I've interviewed probably close to a couple of thousand patients, and I've asked them all the time, why aren't you able to do this? And here are some of the reasons that they tell me. They don't have time. They forget. There's too many steps involved. Out of sight, out of mind. Once they leave the office, they don't remember to do it. They don't know what to write. They don't know how to do it. They don't have a Google account, and you need a Google account to write a Google review. And they're not asked to write a review. So these are the main, I think it's eight ways, but by far and away, the number one reason why patients don't write Google reviews is they don't remember their password. They can't remember their password. And in order to do a Google review, you have to remember this information. So keep that in mind. So I told you I'm going to just briefly talk about Bird Eye. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but we integrate with almost every practice management software out there, 98% of them. And we focus on mobile technology more than email. And the reason we do that is here. 6 billion people have access to text messaging. There's a 98% open rate on text messages, and 84% of them are read between 1 and 3 minutes. So they get read very quickly. So these are patients of mine in my office, and you'll see they had 94,000 and 113,000 unread emails. Okay, So I know that if I send an email to the patient, the chance of them actually opening it up and seeing it is slim to none, because most of my patients are similar to this. Now, when I'm live in person, I do this exercise where I ask everybody to take out their phone and see how many unread emails they have. Well, this is a little contest we have at my seminars. So just so you know, the most I've seen is 425,162 emails. This person is not reading your emails, okay? Notice they have no unread text messages though, because everybody's opening their text messages. So keep that in mind. This is an example of the text message. This is my text message that we send out to help generate reviews for our practice, okay? It goes out and asks for feedback about the experience. When the patients click on the link, this is an example of what it could say. We hope your experience exceeded your expectations. We really enjoyed seeing you and hope you want to leave us a positive review. However, if we haven't earned your 5-star review, please contact us directly by clicking the red button below. So we give the patient an opportunity to provide direct feedback back to the practice. So green is good, Google and Facebook. Red is bad, which is contact us directly. So there's like a built-in traffic light into this messaging. So if a patient does have a problem, they hit the red button where we apologize that we didn't meet their expectations. Please tell us how we can improve. And whatever is emailed or whatever is written here is emailed directly back to the practice. Okay. Now, just for some edification purposes, the Android phone users, we know what phone they have. We only provide them with a link to Google to write the review. We don't give them Facebook as a choice. And the reason that is because we want to keep it as simple as possible. Many people don't do it because it's a difficult process. We want to make it really easy. And on the Android phone, we give them, on the iPhones, we give them both choices. And the reason we do that is because not every iPhone patient has a Gmail account. And those that have a Gmail account don't even tell you they have Gmail most of the time. They give you their backup email, which is usually like a cable company or something else. But most people, 85% of Americans, and close to that number worldwide, have a Gmail account. So this is the process a patient goes through to write the review. You'll see how easy this is. And one of the reasons is because we actually log them into Google. So watch. They click the link. We scan their phone. They get logged in directly to without having to sign it with a password. We make the process super easy for the patient. They write the review. They hit done in post, and you that quickly have another review on it. So we make this process super simple for patients to do it, and then they do it. And that's as easy as it gets. So just want to make sure you understand that. And I love this because I chose exactly what I'm trying to show you. This is how to quickly and easily write a Google review that happens to be 14 steps long. Okay, that is not quick or easy to do, but this is what companies try if they want to do it manually. You need to use some sort of automated system. Okay, so that's how you generate more positive reviews. I already showed you how to get ranked higher. Now we're going to focus on monitoring, moderating, and protecting your reputation. So what do you do potentially about a bad review? This was a review I received. This is now 8 years ago, okay? I went to Dr. Tao as a new patient. I did not have a good experience. He seems very money hungry. He told me I needed all this work done when I really did not. He said I also needed my fillings replaced because they can cause my children to be born with disabilities. Now, I would never tell a patient that. That doesn't make any sense, but I can't call her out and call her a liar. So after 8 years, this review has stayed online. You know, you have to know when to actually write a response or when to ignore the review. So that's unfortunately what happens. So if you do get a bad review, which happens, I always say that you haven't been a dentist long enough if you haven't gotten a bad review. Just like you haven't done enough root canals if you haven't broken a file. It happens. So if you do get a bad one, I want you to not to panic. I want you to calm down, take a deep breath, and hold it for about 20 minutes. Because after that, you won't be mad anymore. All right. So you want to, or be like Dory and keep calm and just keep swimming, as I like to say. A bad review may spoil your breakfast, but you shouldn't allow it to spoil your lunch. And I truly believe that. So it's going to hurt when you get it, but you shouldn't allow it to ruin your day. So do you respond or not? That's a very common question I get from people is, do I respond to these reviews? So in general, I don't love responding to negative reviews in most cases, and I'll show you why in a couple of minutes. But whether you respond or not is really up to you. And I want you to remember, if you're responding to the review, most of the time, you're not putting the response up for the person who wrote the review. They will see it, but I'm not as worried about that in most cases. Most of the time, you're doing it for the people who are reading the reviews, and they know that you actually care about what people are saying about you. So keep that in mind here. So if you do respond, you always want to say, I'm sorry, okay? In some way. It doesn't have to be exactly, I'm sorry. But you also have to be concerned about HIPAA compliance. A lot of people who respond to negative reviews violate HIPAA in what they say. And like this dentist, for example, in the right review, on the review on the right, he actually said, glad we can close your gap in your front teeth for today. You can't say that in reviews. You can't tell them what you did. It's private information. And then the left response was just a crazy response from the same dentist. So you have to really be careful exactly what you say and how you respond to these reviews. So how I normally respond to reviews is I take them offline most of the time. So this was many years ago now. I was actually out of the office when this happened, but this person wrote this scathing review. He actually yelled that he was been overcharged. And I think it was like 30, almost 40 minutes later, I got online, told him I would check it out and call him the next day, which I did. He then apologized the next day, saying I called him and I took care of the situation. And then other people got on there to comment as well. This is how you want to handle things in general. Just want to be prompt in responding if you do respond. This is my oral surgeon. He's in Pennsylvania, like I am. And he did his office coordinator had a perfect response, in my opinion, to a bad review they got. And it was basically about waiting too long in the office. And they said, I want to apologize and thank you for sharing the recent experience at our office. We take great pride in providing each patient with the best quality of patient care, personalized care. Unfortunately, on the day of your appointment, our service went down, delaying our surgeries. And then they wrote, although our collective apologies will not change your experience, I hope you find comfort in knowing your feedback was taken seriously. That's a really well done job. Okay, so that's what you want to do. Now, this is a great generic response if you don't know what to say to a patient who left you a negative review. Okay, we value all types of feedback in our office and will welcome the opportunity to discuss them with you. We are sorry you are disappointed in the services we have provided. Please contact the office and ask to personally speak with me so we can address some of your concerns and unfortunately prevent us from answering publicly due to HIPAA. So this is like a really great generic response when responding to negative reviews. You're generally not going to get the patient annoyed with your response, but it shows that you care to people reading it. Okay. So this is the opposite example. This is a dentist who's pretty well known in the dental industry. I think he makes jokes about how he responds now. But for instance, I'm in need of an emergency dental appointment, but based on the responses left for some of the unsatisfied clients, I will drive to the beach to another business. Thank you. We prefer not to see stupid people who make judgments without any knowledge. Worst experience ever. I had to pay even though I had insurance. We require payment up front because too many people lie about having dental insurance when they no longer have a job and just don't have any dental insurance. The elderly woman in the reception area is one of the rudest individuals I've ever encountered. That's the dentist's mom, by the way. If we are so bad, why do you keep coming back? So please go to another office and waste their time. So that's not how I recommend responding, just so you know. Now, this is one of the reviews I show because I always want someone to think about responding, okay? So this dentist was a client of mine based in Hawaii, and this was back in 2013, so it's like 8 years ago now. That was the worst experience I ever had at any dentist. Now, that's not a good review, obviously, but they really didn't say anything specific about what happened. So in this case, I advised them to leave it alone and let either contact the patient offline, which I recommend to do a lot of times, or don't respond. But they insisted on responding. Here's their response, okay? And the response wasn't bad, okay? They just basically said, we apologize like I told them to do. I want to assure you that it's not our intent to be insensitive. We hope you found a reputable dentist that will provide you with the best care. I don't love the ending either, but what unfortunately happens when you respond to a review, it allows the reviewer to re-respond to that review. And that's what happened here. So this was the original review, which just said it was the worst experience, but watch what happened. When they re-responded, this was the re-response. It was updated. And it was this, it was this, and it was this. So it became from a one-liner all the way to like a novel about their experiences. So keep that in mind when you respond. I like to leave sleeping dragons lay. I don't like to, to poke the bear, as I like to say. Leave sleeping dragons alone. This can cause great problems for your practice. So this is how I handle, this is a real life experience in my office. Patient came in, we take their insurance as a form of payment. The insurance provided us some incorrect information about how much they're actually paying. And when we realized it, we told the patient they owe us more money. So she wrote this review that we're scamming her, et cetera, et cetera. So I called the patient to apologize that I took responsibility, even though it really isn't her fault that she has bad insurance, and told her that I would eat the cost that was extra, that I would give her just for her, charge her just what we said, and we wouldn't charge her the extra copay. So she left a 1-star review, and then I called her on the phone to fix the issue. Well, later that day, she changed it to a 3-star review. Okay, so I'd rather have a 3-star review any day of the week rather than a 1-star review. I always like to reach out to the person's offline. So this was a 1-star review I got for a patient who had not been to the dentist in 35 years. He had so much calculus on his teeth that he didn't qualify for quote unquote free cleaning, as he liked to call it. So he had to basically pay, okay? And he left a 1-star review, but he wrote he loved everybody in the office. He didn't like that he had to pay for this cleaning. So I texted him, here's my text response. Here's the thing I texted him. And he said, doctor, I already took all the reviews I posted. I would really appreciate it if I can get a note stating I have gum disease. And he said, thank you so much. I will post a new and positive review based on my true reflection. So before you go about trying to respond online, I still recommend you take it offline when discussing these things with patients. So here are some things of not to do when it comes to dealing with negative reviews. These are things that are bad. So you can't pay for reviews. So you can't incentivize a patient to write a review with anything of monetary value. You can't do that anymore. Not allowed. And you don't want to pay a company to generate the reviews either. That's not good. So on Yelp, and we didn't really spend much time talking about Yelp today because of my time constraints, but Yelp actually has elite Yelpers, which are active on Yelp, very active on Yelp. And they actually are incentivized to rat out dentists or businesses who violate this incentive. So this was a dentist in California, in Glendora, California, who offered free tickets to Disney, I think it's Land, in exchange for 5-star reviews. So again, you can't give anything of value. This was Premier Dental Care was incentivizing patients with a $30 credit towards their next visit. And it will show you how petty this gets, because this orthodontic office was giving reviews in exchange for a free whitening pen, which is a couple of dollars. So you really can't give anything of value for a review. So cut that out. If you're doing that, stop immediately. You will get into trouble. Should you use a kiosk to get new reviews? You cannot use an in-office computer to get reviews, and there's a couple reasons why. One of them is the IP address is the same, and you're concerned with location now. Everything has locations on it, so you don't want to let Google see that all the reviews are coming from the same physical location, okay? So again, Yelp will call you out on this, cannot collect reviews from offices, so be careful with that. Don't sue a patient either. This was a Yelp dentist or a dentist on Yelp who sued 4 patients for leaving a negative Yelp review. So don't sue anybody about their review. You don't have to take it to that extent. This dentist did sue, and this was the review that he sued one of the patients on. He basically went to the endodontist, the patient waited 2 hours and 15 minutes, spoke to the dentist for 30 minutes, and was sent back to the general dentist with for a possible cavity. That's what the review said. And the endodontist wanted to sue the patient for $100,000. Obviously lost the case, but it made national news. So just be very careful, okay? They also placed this Yelp, I call it the scarlet letter on your website that will never, on the Yelp page that will never come down. So keep that in mind. You don't want to do this either. So a perfect business isn't one with perfect reviews. It's ones that deals with reviews and feedback perfectly. So as we kind of wrap up, I'm going to give you some conclusions here. The key to attracting new patients to your practice is visibility and credibility. You need both. Citation claiming is an important part of local SEO for visibility. you can attract quality new patients with a well-established online reputation. Spending on marketing while ignoring your reputation will lead to low ROI. So if you don't have the reviews, stop your big marketing spend until you get these reviews coming in. Having both visibility and credibility creates trust. And you must have some sort of reputation marketing strategy. You must have a system in place to generate these reviews. So a couple other things. I have a podcast, comes out every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's called the Raving Patients Podcast. I interview dentists and industry leaders about not only reviews, but how to grow your business, how to grow your practice, how to make better decisions. So it's really about just growing your business now. It's not just about online reviews. I also have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, I should say, called Raving Patients, where people put on their bad reviews and we help discuss how we should respond, what should we do about it. So feel free to join that group. It's called Raving Patients. I also have a book. Here it is right here, Raving Patients. I know it's hard because of the, there it is, because of the screen, but you can actually purchase from Kindle. I think it's like $7.99. You can scan this code and purchase the book and check it out. It's, I have a second book coming out hopefully in the next 3 or 4 months. This was a great first book that I wrote, and people love reading it. So check it out if you want to. If you want to get, here's my contact information. Here's my cell phone number, my email address, my office number is on there. Feel free to take my information and contact me. Let me know you heard about me on the Pioneer. And as I always end these topics that I speak on, I always like saying the most important things are that your reputation matters, and it really does. So thank you so much for listening to my Pioneer, and I will pass it off to Dr. Akram to finish everything up.
Thank you very much for the interesting, really interesting lecture out of the box. I have some questions, maybe sometimes tough, okay? We have good patients, of course, but sometimes you have this one crazy, wicked patient who comes to your office trying to blackmail you for a discount. Otherwise, he's going to write a bad review. How are you going to deal with such a situation?
So look, as I said, you really have to, you can't worry about the one negative review that this person may leave, okay? I generally don't give into that type, and I've had it happen a couple of times to me, and I say, you know, hey, it is what it is. If you want to leave a bad review, that's fine. I have enough good reviews to overwhelm that bad review. So I think if that happens, you know, one, I think it will convince you to start getting positive reviews. I've seen instances where, and I'll give you a quick story. Dentist was in Pennsylvania, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania area, and there was a problem with the filling the wife, he placed on the wife. The couple moved to, I think it was New Mexico or something, and the filling became problematic. And they called the dentist who did the filling and said, hey, we want you to pay for the other work that's needed. Although fillings are sensitive all the time, the dentist didn't do anything wrong. The dentist said, go pound sand, wouldn't give the patient any money back. The patient then went online, created a video, which they actually realized they can promote on Facebook. And all of these people started seeing the videos back in Lancaster where the dentist had a practice. And it started to ruin his reputation. But he had so many good Google reviews that he was able to handle it. But just having to get a cease and desist letter and get the patient to take these bad videos down was a hassle. So I always like to say you need to really think about what's the most important for your business. I think refunding it, to me, I don't like refunding money, but if you think the patient's crazy and it's going to do that, refund the money. I truly believe that most businesses, if they have enough reviews, they can overcome a situation like this. So I think the strategy should be get enough reviews. So if this does happen, then you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, one more tough question, okay? Sometimes the reviews, you said you have your business in a very crowded area full of dentists, right? What if one dentist wants to affect you by letting his friends, family, colleagues, whatever, write frequent bad reviews, although they did not come to your clinic? How are you going to deal with such a situation? Will you take it to court?
Well, so no. So if you remember, I said, I don't want to sue anybody. So I think that will cause a problem. I think the strategy, and look, I don't really believe there's any business that's targeted like that. Okay, I really don't. It's pretty rare to hear that. I think, look, can you get a cease and desist letter sent? Yes. I don't like involving attorneys in the situation. I still go back to the fact that if you have enough positive reviews, you're still not, shouldn't worry about getting a negative review. That's really what it comes down to. You can also send, if you get a bunch of these reviews and there's a pattern to them, you can flag it on Google, and Google will take some of them down. So there's definitely a situation there you have to be aware of, but I don't like involving lawyers. I simply want to get more positives. So if I do get some negatives, it doesn't have any effect on me at all. That's really what the goal should be.
Okay, you said we don't have to spend marketing until we have a solid review base. So what's your advice for a starting business? A dentist, he's starting his career. What do you recommend for him before to start marketing or to have reviews? What shall he do?
So for someone who's starting a practice, obviously one of the goals, you should have a marketing budget. Part of that budget in the beginning should go to Google AdWords. I know offices that are spending $300, $400, $500 a month. That's fine. I just don't want you to spend $2,000 or $3,000 a month because people still look at the reviews. And if you don't have a nice amount of reviews, that's a different situation. You can do some, Facebook or social media, which has a nice return on investment. But the thing that you want to do when you finally get your practice is you want to get your citations consistent. You want to start generating reviews. Obviously, in the beginning, if you don't have a lot of patients, you can ask the patients. The dentist asking is a really good technique. If you're not that busy in the beginning, a dentist who spends the time to ask the patients usually get a better result than just saying, hey, go write a review online. Ultimately, they should look into getting some sort of automated system, and there's plenty of them on the market to really hone the reputation part of the business. Because like I said, the more reviews you have, the more patients are going to come in, but the more money you're going to make to afford to market your practice more.
Okay, do you ask all of your patients to give a feedback or a review? You said the word feedback is better, okay? Or you are selective in choosing which patient to ask for a feedback?
So if you're using an automated system, the automated system will generally send it out to all the patients based on some timing mechanisms, whether it's once every 30 days they come in, or whether it's one family member at a time. So mine is automated. If you're doing it manually, obviously I would select specific patients are happy with their experiences. But if it's automated, there's certain systems that will allow you to potentially turn a patient off, so they don't get a review request if you feel that they had a not so great experience in the office.
Okay, I have no more questions. I really enjoyed the lecture. It's not full of very heavy scientific terms, but it's to the point. And I believe our practice is a business. It's a healthcare, but it's still a business. So thank you very much, Dr. Len. I hope to host you one more time in the future. And it was nice having you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me online. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day. Okay, thank you, everyone.